Look, we got some new 2K23 news today. Is it the My Team news that we've been clamoring for? Absolutely not. But if you are somebody who's really into like My League or any type of simulation aspects of the game, this is stuff that's definitely going to be affecting you, and it's going to be a cool thing, right? Being that it is 2K, of course, there are negatives that I will discuss as well. So we have our Courtside Report 3. I personally have been really into My League since my team died. You know, it's been a fun time. I've been having a good time with it. Now, explore endless possibilities in MyNBA. What if Kobe and Shaq never went their separate ways? What if the Houston Rockets selected Michael Jordan with the #1 overall pick in '84 in NBA 2K23? Explore any what if imaginable and experience different basketball eras. Now, from reading this, you would think like, oh yeah, this is just stuff I could do from downloading custom rosters, right? Which is accurate, but at the same time, most of the time you'll see like 1999 full roster, exclamation point, and then you'll click it and it'll be just the normal NBA, and then it'll have like 3 guys from 1999 in the league. You know what I mean? Or you'll pick up like a draft class and it'll be just like 3 people from that draft class and then a bunch of like losers, you know? Either way, this looks like a little bit more of a legit way, but I will explain how this could be negative. Number 1, it is negative already off the bat because this is only for next gen, right? We've got a bit of a treat for you. We're going to break down what's new in MyNBA for PlayStation 5 and Xbox X/S. Doesn't look like it's for PC either. I'm actually kind of curious on how they're going to go about that. Is this going to be something that's only going to be on those next gen or new gen consoles? Or is it going to be a PC thing as well? It's always tough to say because they really don't care about the PC version of the game. They only make it strictly for people to play like My League and stuff anyway. They'll make anything they can do to make more money, they'll do. So they'll put out a PC version. It doesn't matter if it sells like 6 copies, dude. We know MyNBA has a loyal veteran fan base that expectations will always be high. Yet you haven't updated it in like 6 years, but whatever. And rightfully so, okay. Our feature set for this year is one we have been talking about, no joke, for well over a decade. Come on, I know you've been... I know you could have added this before this year, but whatever. We're here today to confidently say 2K23 is a banner year for our MyNBA fans out there. I mean, finally, you guys have been neglecting this game mode for like 10 years, but whatever. Before we fully dive into what's new for MyNBA this year, we'd like to get philosophical for a moment and look at a very powerful phrase, what if? Yeah, what if you guys weren't so greedy? What if? What if there was another NBA competitor? So many what ifs that I feel like will not be addressed. Keeping up with the NBA means engaging in a never-ending stream of what ifs. What if Kyrie were to go to LA? What if KD actually went back to Golden State? What if Utah trades Donovan Mitchell? We've pondered these and countless other what ifs in this offseason alone. Arguing what ifs is one of the things we love about the sport of basketball. I can agree with that. What if can do more than stitch together future? It can also look at the past. The history of the NBA is overflowing with what ifs. Yeah, I mean, that's accurate. What if the Rockets took Jordan #0? Yeah, I mean, I understand that, obviously. What if Shaq... Well, I mean, like, at the same time, though, like, nobody ever really talked... It's not ever really about the Rockets, though. I don't know why they're so keyed in on this. I don't feel like anybody ever really talks about what if the Rockets took Jordan overall, or #1 overall. I feel like majority of people rightfully ask, hey, what if the Trailblazers didn't take Sam Bowie? I think that's typically the thing that people will say in regards to Jordan. Like, nobody really trips about Hakeem, dude, you know? What if the Seattle Supersonics never moved to Oklahoma City? That would have been great. I love the Seattle Supersonics, personally. All these questions will forever remain lingering what ifs. What if T-Mac didn't get injured so much? What if he went into an actual good team for once? Like, period. Oh, God. The T-Mac what ifs are especially horrible for me. Like, what if... The biggest what if for me, I think, personally, before we get into the actual video here, is like, what if the Magic ownership group wasn't so goddamn stupid and they allowed Tim Duncan's family to fly on the team plane and we had a Magic team that had Tracy McGrady and Tim Duncan? That's the biggest what if for me, personally. What if you could go back in time and change the very fabric of NBA history? Yeah. With NBA 2K23, there's no need for what ifs. All your dreams can become reality as MyNBA becomes MyNBA Eras on PlayStation 5 and Xbox. Like I said, they're not saying anything about PC, so I would assume the PC version is going to remain the same. What is an era? MyNBA Eras. An era is what we call a specific point in time. I mean, I know what an era is. you can start playing a MyNBA save. The MyNBA Eras mode is designed to be a time machine straight out of the box. All you need to do is pick your era and go. If you're a power user and want to tweak your roster or settings, we've still got you covered. That's good. We're confident that you'll be incredibly pleased with what MyNBA Era brings to the table. Previous MyNBA experience is now dubbed the Modern Era. If you're a longtime fan of the mode and just want to dive into an online league and play with your friends, no worries. The franchise goodness that you all know and love is still there, ready and raring to go. I would assume it's going to be the exact same with basically no tweaks. Start from the beginning of the regular season, blah, 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 yeah. Okay. The Magic vs. Bird era. Now, here's my concern with these eras, right? And I think it's a just concern, is how accurate are they going to be? And the reason I say that is because 2K doesn't have rights to all of these guys, right? Like, specifically, the Magic and Bird era, depending on where it goes, it looks like it says relive 1983 and beyond. Are they going to have Charles Barkley? I don't think so. You know, we'll see though. It's impossible to talk about basketball in the 1980s without mentioning the rivalry between Magic Johnson, Showtime Lakers, and Larry Bird's Boston Celtics. Fans of NBA 2K might recall the homage paid to their storied rivalry in 2K12, where Bird and Magic, along with his airness, graced the cover and were featured heavily in the NBA Greatest mode. I forgot about that. Yeah, that wasn't bad. With one look at the record books, it's easy to see why. Absolutely. The 80s, I was going to say the 80s. The 80s featured a ton of terrific players throughout the league. Moses Malone, Kareem, Isaiah, George Gervin, Alex English, one of the most slept on NBA legends of all time. Julius, Dr. J, the list goes on and on. But with so many iconic teams and players, what would be the best year to start with to give the richest experience for MyNBA Eras? We have a good spread of years to pick from with the Lakers and Celtics rivalry in full swing, but simply looking at the players can be a little tough to choose from so many amazing rosters. However, let's go back to the realm of what if. What would be one of the most fascinating ways to rewrite history? Who would be the most fascinating player to change the course of history? We would want a player coming into the league that would make your MyNBA story unique straight from the first season. Let's hop back to 2K12 for a moment. Michael Jordan, obviously. MyNBA Era makes it easy to use your own or a community-created draft class, if that's what you're into, but will automatically supply our own 2K-appropriate draft class, so you can rewrite history the way you see fit. Did you miss out on Jordan in the 84 draft? No problem. A 7-foot center out of Georgetown by the name of Patrick Ewing awaits you in the 85 draft. Now, look, as I said, there's going to be a lot of missing players. There is. And that's kind of the issue with my league, is that 2K is not necessarily ponying up for a lot of these players. And what's even worse is they don't seem to ever update their own draft classes, which sucks because throughout the year, they start to, I don't know if they necessarily get rights, but they add players into the game. I mean, we saw that with J.R. Smith this year in my team. Typically, my team is where you see it the most because you'll see guys you never saw all year and aren't even on like all-time teams, and like various other teams pop into the game randomly. So it's going to be interesting to see if they update it throughout the years when they have rights to certain players. That's kind of where I'm at, you know? There's no need to beat around the bush for the next era. It would be impossible to have the greatest eras in NBA history without one focused on the most prolific players to ever palm a basketball, Michael Jordan. I see Karl Malone up here already, so you already know what's up. They're not going to have Reggie Miller, so I'm kind of interested to see what they would do here. I was kind of hoping, I've always hoped they would go the old school game route and just put a guy who's not Reggie Miller, but he's fake Reggie Miller in the game. You know what I mean? How MLB games used to do with Barry Bonds. Even how old NBA titles used to go with Michael Jordan occasionally. Like, you know, just make a guy who doesn't look like Reggie Miller, but stats-wise, pretty similar, you know? Same size, like, same shooting motion, stuff like that. The Jordan era puts you right at the beginning of Michael's dominant run with the Chicago Bulls in 1991 and features threats to Air Jordan's legacy abound. The tail end of Isaiah Thomas's bad boy Pistons, Stockton and Malone, Hakeem's Rockets, and Ewing's Knicks. Could MJ have gone for more than a double to repeat? There is only one way to find out. The other big question of the Jordan era has to do with the upcoming 92 draft, with a particular superstar in Shaquille O'Neal. Absolutely. Now, the bottom of this is where the real stuff goes in, because then we have the Kobe era, so it's 2002, which is cool. You know, the year before the 03 draft class, which I'm hoping they have, like, more people. Like, I'm hoping guys like, I mean, he wasn't in this specific draft class, but guys like Sebastian Telfair in the 04 draft, you know. Stuff like that is what I'm hoping to see. And I feel like it'd be a little bit easier to get the rights for some of those guys than it would be some of like the 80s and 90s guys, but I don't actually know how that works, so I can't really say one way or the other. So each era starting point allows for a full 80-year franchise. You'll run all the way up to the present and well beyond. We're absolutely thrilled to make eras a reality. Now, on its face value, this looks kind of like, all right, whatever, I could just do this, you know. But here's the key, right? Is the visual tweaks that they're making, and that's kind of the one thing that they're kind of tweaking. One of the first things you'll notice, when jumping into Era's gameplay is that every team has a floor that's accurate to the Era year. Okay, that's pretty cool. So when you play as the San Diego Clippers, they should have stayed in San Diego. That's so sick, dude. Like, that's cool. I mean, look, the floors look, I guess, the same. I mean, as you can see, the stadiums themselves aren't really changing. I was hoping that they would do period accurate stadiums. Like a nice cloud of cigarette smoke up there, you know, would be cool. A lot of mustaches, you know, kind of like the same vibe you see from like these 80s and 70s stadiums when you see pictures of them. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Like, even the hoops are normal, like NBA hoops, which kind of sucks. But they are adding the actual logos and brand marketing. But I was hoping more for like a sim experience with the actual courts themselves. I was hoping they were going to look more like the courts of old. Unfortunately, that might be asking too much. The uniforms, I mean, we have all these in my team already, so we see them. I'm glad to see that they're bringing them to my league. It's good. The presentation and commentary is the big thing that I wanted to talk about, though. Like, the visual additions are huge. Like, our teams here at Visual Concepts went and created an era-specific filter system that was intricately designed to recreate the television experience of watching these games as they were originally broadcast. Now, this is huge, dude. This is cool, right? The stadiums don't necessarily look the same, but they look better through this grainy filter, like, I will say. So we got our, like, 82 right here, and then looks like we got our 90s. This is going to be our 90s one right here. Right here, yeah. Yeah, that's tight, dude. And then we got our 2000s one right here. This brings back memories, obviously. So, like, let's look at the actual commentary. Beyond looking the part with respects to quality of the broadcast, the team has also gone back and created era-specific broadcast elements. In 1983, you will experience a broadcast that is simple in design and nature, with big black letters and a simple score bug. As we progress into the 90s, you will start to see an evolved presentation. So, I mean, the 2000s is going to be easy for them because they can just reuse assets that they used back in those old games, obviously. So it should look correct. Like, this looks like an old 2K. Like, that's what this looks like. So I would expect it to be accurate. I'm a little concerned about the 80s one, but it's looking really good so far. So I'm liking what's happening here, dude. I am. League rules, expansion, relocation, and gameplay changes. Also, they got, like, Mike Fratello, aka the Czar. Like, they got, you know, older guys to come do the commentary. I haven't played 2K with the sound on in probably like 10 years, but maybe I'll start with my league. Like, who knows? We've done our best to make sure that the base MyNBA Eras experience fully supports teams automatically joining the league in the right years. Think Miami Heat, Vancouver Grizzlies. Okay, that's sick. See, because that's always a problem when you're doing these, so that's awesome. And rebrand/relocate. Think Memphis, Oklahoma City, etc. As those teams did historically. Other than a few minor exceptions, everything is in, including the San Diego Clippers, Seattle Supersonics, and the various history of moves from the Hornets, Bobcats. Oh, yes, dude. You're telling me the Bobcats are out here? Sick. That said, we want to make sure that MyNBA Eras remains the sandbox you've known and loved for years now. It was a goal to make the rebranding, relocation, and My League expansion easy for those that wanted to see history unfold as it did in the past, but also make it easy for them to change them. If you want to take the league in a completely new direction, you can absolutely make it happen. 36 teams in 1983? Sure. No team relocations allowed ever? Got it. Okay. I like where this is going, dude. I like this. And then there is the rule changes here you can kind of see. And, I mean, I like what's happening here. I do. It's just... I don't know, man. I'm kind of excited about it because I have been, you know, having a good time. Though at the bottom here, I'm seeing a bunch of names I don't recognize, and they look like 2K generic guys, but I don't know. Gary Tucker seems like a real person, though. Like, I don't know. In addition, we make sure that most of the normal rule changes that were introduced over the league's history are present. That's awesome. So you can add, like, hand checking, aggressive defense, like, you can change all of that stuff, which I think is cool. They did touch on that during the Jordan Challenge courtside report, though, so it's impossible to touch on everything that has gone into MyNBA Eras. In addition to the previous points mentioned, we've done our best to add several small touches. Okay, what's up? Every era has its own period-specific unique menu background. Okay. Accurate gameplays to every era. Yeah, we talked about that already. Transition gameplay itself changes across eras. Okay, cool. Finances will grow and change with the era. That's cool. Logo team, yep. Division realignment. The G League and social media are added to the mode at the appropriate time. It didn't make sense to have them in the 80s. All right, fair enough. Dynamic length of shorts. It's always something with 2K. If it's not the sweat, it's got to be the dynamic length of shorts, dude. Oh my god. All-Star game jerseys, that's cool. That's sweet. Referee evolution. All right. One of our more detailed oriented touches is how accurately only have 2 referees on court before later adding the third. Okay. I mean, whatever. That's kind of for your real intense people, you know? But I don't know. Revamp team rivalry. When teams clash on the court, we now have a more in-depth system to calculate the heat index between the 2 teams. This looks at numerous factors such as game history, rivalry status, and more to help manifest how players take the court. Games with a high heat index will result in more physical, aggressive game between the 2 teams. As an example, we wanted the Bad Boys Pistons to really feel like they were running the Jordan rules, so they're just going to rock your players. Okay, that's going to be sick, dude. I'm actually excited for that. We've made the calendar bigger and added key information. Yeah, the calendar has kind of sucked, so it's good to see them kind of change it up a little bit. I like that. Eastern and Western Conference Finals MVP, as this was a new award in 2022. We've gone ahead and added it to the modern era as well. Okay. It's been a very productive year, blah, 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 blah. So either way, I got to say, this is exciting. Like, the stuff that they're doing, I think is really cool. None of it is going to be incredibly game-changing, I don't think. But it's all really cool if you're somebody who enjoys the simulations like this. Like, it's cool stuff, right? You can do most of this stuff on your own, especially if you're on the PC build of the game and you download certain mods and stuff, but it makes it easier for the average person to do stuff like this. Not everyone is going to be able, either A, to have the PC version, because why would you? And B, they're not going to have the know-how to do a lot of this stuff. Even though they make it relatively easy to do, it's still just included on the game. It makes it easier for everyone to do. So overall, I think it's a good thing, especially people on consoles, because it's hard to do this stuff on consoles if it's even possible, to be honest, and I don't think it is. So for console My League guys, this is going to be really, really cool. I think it really just comes down to the licensing. Like, how many players are going to be missing from these eras is going to be huge. Like, are the draft classes going to be accurate? Probably not. There's going to be a lot of rando 2K generic guys, but it'd be cool if they were... If 2K were to pony up the money, which isn't even that much money, honestly, it's like $2 million, which they make that on like 1 or 2, My Team pack drops in the early game to get guys like Barkley, Reggie Miller, Rasheed Wallace. That would be huge. I don't think they will. So we're going to have to use a Bad Boys Pistons team that has McDice or somebody else. I forgot who their other guy is. Or Darko, starting at the power forward instead of Rasheed, which is unfortunate, but a Pacers team that has no Reggie Miller, we're going to have to do the Jordan. No, they kept the Phoenix Suns out of the Jordan challenge, so not to worry about Barkley. They're going to replace him with Dumas or something, but I don't know. Overall, I think it's cool. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. It's been your boy Cheap Ludes.